The Utah Jazz due to the NBA's health and safety protocols. The team announcing on Monday Durant is averaging 28 points, 7 rebounds, and nearly 5 assists a game. He's slated to miss the Nets' next 4 contests. And for more on Durant and the Nets, Tim Legler joining us now. And Legs, the Nets are already missing Spencer Dinwiddie. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. Where is this going to hurt them the most, you think?
Well, look, right now they're just flat out outscoring people when they do win. And so when you've got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving basically as a two-man show right now offensively, while a lot of those other pieces are trying to find their way and find consistency, you're basically taking out half of the offense that you've been using to win the 3 games that you have. So that's where they're going to feel it. I think, fortunately for them, they still have an elite offensive player in Kyrie Irving to build your offense around, and you're going to get extended now opportunities out of Karis LeVert. He showed last year he's capable of doing that. But right now, the overall bigger picture with this team is that their defense just hasn't really been something they've worked on. You can tell they haven't touched on it very much. There's a lot that Steve Nash probably wants to implement, but right now their offense is light years ahead of their defense, and that's why they've had a hard time getting some of these wins. They've lost close games because they cannot get stops down the stretch when they need to. That has got to be the biggest area of improvement, because you're just not going to have 2 guys go out every night and rotate turns taking shots and expect to fulfill your dreams of winning a championship. That defense has to tighten up, and maybe this is a great opportunity to do that, missing Kevin Durant's 28 points a night.
Legs, you mentioned offense. KD's former team and his former teammate. If you missed it last night, Steph Curry was cooking. How about a career-high 62 points in the Warriors' win over the Blazers? Let's go by the numbers on Curry's masterful night. He is just the 3rd player to record a 60-point game after turning 32 years old, joining Wilt and Kobe, who was the oldest ever to do it. He accomplished the feat in the final game back in 2016. Curry, how about 8 for 16 from beyond the arc? That's his 49th career game with at least 8 triples. That's more than James Harden and Damian Lillard combined, who are 2nd and 3rd all-time in that category. And the Chef poured in 31 points in each half last night. In the process, he became the first player to score more than 30 points in both halves of an NBA game since Pistol Pete in 1977. What stood out, the shimmy looked like it was back, Legs. And Steph is the 2nd leading scorer in the NBA, averaging over 32 points per game. But last night felt different. What did you see from Steph and Steve Kerr's offense?
Well, I just saw a guy last night that I think was reminding people, don't sleep on his greatness. And that's why I said before the season, anybody that underestimates this guy's greatness is making a big mistake, because I saw people thinking the Warriors can't make the playoffs, that maybe the time had passed Steph to be an elite player. I never thought that, never said it, and I never would have bought into that, because what he does to defenses with his motion and activity and his shooting range, he just forces so many communication issues for teams defensively. And when he really gets it going the way that he did early in the game last night, he's capable of putting up huge numbers. Now, obviously, that was a career night, but Steph, I think, has seen, while some guys are trying to find their comfort zone with this team, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, a couple new pieces, they struggled to shoot the ball early in the year. James Wiseman is a rookie, so he's right now trying to get out of people's way, basically, and find his way. Draymond Green just came back. So while that's all been going on, Steph Curry has realized he needs to put this team on his back a little bit offensively, and again, have one of those roll back the clock type nights. That was Steph Curry from his MVP years. He's more than capable of doing it, and it's the biggest reason why I think people are going to start taking the Golden State Warriors a lot more serious, because this guy's greatness makes the game a lot easier for everybody else on the floor, and those other pieces I mentioned are just going to get more comfortable as the year goes on.
Yeah, regardless of your allegiance to a team, if you love the league, you love the NBA, you love basketball, it's fun to see Steph back. The Warriors, they host the Kings tonight, Legs. Thank you. Nabil?
Rui Hachimura trying to stay in front of Kevin Durant. Coach Fizz, this didn't count because of an offensive foul away from the ball, which, I mean, you got to cut the rookie a break.
Right. Look, what I liked is that Kevin Durant can plant and go both ways, but no, it doesn't count, so the highlight is not complete.
I mean, he's just coming off an injury. Don't bother Ricky.
Clearly, he has to take it so slow. Welcome to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols alongside former NBA head coach David Fizdale, ESPN senior writer Ramona Shelburne. Coming up, guys, Paul George and Devin Booker got into a heated argument during the game last night. Paul said afterward he has been the target of more trash talk this season than in the past. Does he still have work to do to silence his doubters? We're going to discuss that. First, though, A lot of sports is binary, right? The ball goes in or it doesn't. It's called a foul or it isn't. Either you win or you don't. There is no gray area. So it's not shocking that over this past weekend, there was a lot of binary talk about Steph Curry, especially if you go back to Friday night when Portland thumped the Warriors by 25. Curry was still Golden State's leading scorer that night, but even he called the evening, quote, demoralizing after making just 4 of his 12 three-point attempts and finishing the game a minus 27. And boy, did that get people talking. Depending on which corner of the internet you hang out on, you heard Steph described as either a martyred saint whose otherworldly trials included roster instability, injuries, and the boxing one, or as an aging, overhyped role player who can't cross the street without a Kevin Durant-shaped cane in his hand. For days, the debate raged, stirred further by some Damian Lillard comments about how, quote, it's different than the past 4 or 5 years for Steph, and that, quote, he's seeing it's tough to get those quality looks now. Of course, if you actually listen to the full interview, Lillard was not remotely taking a shot at Curry. He was making a much larger point about how both for him and Steph Curry, there is sometimes not much you can do when an opposing coach is throwing 3 or 4 defenders at you on every trip down the court. But the Steph is overrated crowd grabbed those Lillard headlines and ran with them so loudly that even Steph himself couldn't ignore all the buzz. By the time he stepped onto the court last night for the bookend of the Warriors' 2-game homestand against Portland, he was determined that things go differently, and boy, did they, as Steph brought out all the tricks. Handles? Yeah, check. Woo! Little reverse up and under there? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, he can just do that, Fizz. And the threes, off balance? No problem.
I love it.
Catch and shoot?
I mean, goodness. I mean,
No problem.
You talking about one of the 2-time MVPs, Rach.
Woo! Woo! Now, it was not the most important game of Steph Curry's career, but it was one of the best he's ever had statistically. And even in a mostly empty arena, there was that other essential part of any true Steph Curry masterpiece, that kind of liquid joy that spills across the court and uplifts an entire team. Like, say, rookie James Wiseman, who racked up his first career double-double. In the locker room after the game, Steve Kerr gathered the team and actually said he was going to give the game ball to Wiseman, pump faking it toward the youngster before then instead sending the ball to Steph. The stunt sent several guys to the floor laughing, and then when they met with the media afterwards, they were universal in their praise, not just for Steph's game, but the way he had handled the tornado of criticism all weekend.
I think that was right up there with the majority of them. I mean, with the best of them. Just because of, all the talk that's been going around. I could just see, like, Steph has a tendency at times to kind of around with the basketball. There was no around. He came out and everything was shot or attack. Like, and me, I watch a guy's eyes. He never looked to pass once in the beginning of the game.
It's crazy. It reminded me of 2K because I used to play with Steph all the time and I used to drop like 60. So just like actually watching it personally, that was phenomenal.
And then there was Steph himself making a last dance joke.
You the Jordan meme, right? I take all that personally. I don't get frazzled too easily, and very confident in who I am, and as a person, as a basketball player, and there's not going to be anything you can say about me or to me that's going to affect that. It's going to be that kind of narrative from here on out, and I love it.
I had hoped for a brief moment that Steph's performance may quell some of that binary talk online. Of course, that wasn't going to happen. Even as Steph was still at the podium, debate was raging between the I told you so crowd versus the hey, it's just a regular season game crew. The truth, of course, is somewhere in the middle. Steph is a generational, truly great player who also does need to figure out this season how to make more of a nightly impact leading a depleted team. It's not a binary problem, and last night's outburst cannot be the regular solution. No one can put up historic numbers every night. It doesn't work that way. But at least for 48 minutes, amid all the talk, it was Steph Curry who had the loudest word. Either the ball goes in or it doesn't. And last night it did. A lot. So So, Fizz, you already knew how good Steph Curry was. But what stood out to you watching last night, especially considering all the talk?
It's tough to even follow Draymond Green, right? I mean, he hit it on the head. Well, you know your teammates well. When they don't look to pass, when the great ones just say, hell with it, I'm about to show you, you know that they're on a mission. And he was on a mission. It just makes the league exciting for me because, going into the season, Golden State, I was like, yes, we're getting back to this. And to see Klay go down, I think everybody kind of had the wind taken out of him. But Steph just reminded everybody that they're still going to be in this fight. And I think the toughest thing and the thing everyone's going to watch is, can he do it at a high level? Not 62 a night, come on, but the Steph Curry level that we've been grown accustomed to. Can he do that on a nightly basis and get his team a chance to get into the playoffs?
Well, look, they've had so many times where Steph Curry goes off like this, but they usually have so many other people who go off at the same time Steph does. And Rachel, I love how you put that liquid joy. He has this infectious game, and to do that when there's no fans there to feed off of him and to cheer him and the Warriors on, I thought that's what really made this game special. But the one thing that he's been struggling with this whole time is he wants to get his teammates going, right? But that can't come at the detriment of his own game and his own aggressiveness. And that's what I thought the difference was last night, is that he was aggressive, he was attacking, and that will feed to his teammates. Now, in the past, we used to refer to them as strength in numbers, right? That's why the Warriors were so good. They were so deep. I don't think we appreciated it at the time. The people in Oakland, they appreciated it. The coaches appreciated it. Now we all appreciated it because Steph is out there many nights with a bunch of rookies, young players, and Kelly Oubre, who's still trying to find his shot. So for him to do that with no crowd, nobody else to feed off of, that's what was so impressive.
And also, by the way, how Draymond Green plays in these games affects Steph. And Draymond did not score buckets last night. Everyone's talked about his stat line. But defensively, the way he played, the tone he set, the way he helped and enabled James Wiseman have that double-double, there is no replacement for this. Draymond Green was Draymond Green last night. And he's talked about needing a few games to get the wind back into him and everything. But if he can do what he did last night, he doesn't have to score a point. He still makes things easier for Steph and easier for the other guys around him, and that is why they had so much strength and all those numbers, Ramona, as you note. Now, I know the story was Steph and this huge explosion last night, but Fizz, for you as a coach, did the win over the Blazers map out anything for you, bigger picture, about how the Warriors can play this season?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is a great moment to really get a lift off for their team. Draymond Green is just getting his legs underneath him. And then the Steph Curry that these young guys are used to watching from a distance, they got to see it up close. And all that does is galvanize guys around you. They gain more confidence. They feel more confident. And with Draymond Green, I've never looked at his stat line other than plus minus.
Right.
And a lot of people don't like the plus minus category, but I always put the film together with the plus minus.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing. And his film always says, I'm helping my team and my teammates win basketball games. I don't care about the other statistical categories with him. I just look at that. And last night, plus 22. Draymond Green is going to slowly work his way back to who he is. He's got that monster lob threat down there, and Steph Curry coming along very fine.
Well, you know what you pointed out earlier, Rachel, which I think is right on, is Draymond Green and the way he passes, the way he facilitates that offense is everything for the Warriors. And it's what Steph was trying to do in his absence, but that's not. Steph can't do everything. He can't score and pass and make his teammates better and defend. He's got to just let Draymond be in that role. And you saw all those highlights we saw? Almost every single one of them was Draymond Green facilitating. It's something that I don't think we appreciated because we talk so much about Draymond as a defender and his trash talk. He's a great passer. Just an absolute great passer. Wow, that's a heck of a list.
Right?
Look at that.
Don't forget, people, he's not nice. Don't let the baby face fool you.
That's right.
He's ripped my heart out along with a whole lot of other people's hearts.
You know personally.
Oh, my God. You talk about two-time MVP. Yeah, that is not easy to come by. We're talking about arguably the greatest shooter in our game ever. But this generation, him and Clay are just battling over it.
That is certainly true. And Ramona, just to follow up on what you said earlier, I do think him having the ball in his hands more was a factor, right? You talked about the idea that he's been trying to get everybody else involved. And at this point, as Draymond said, he was not looking to pass last night. I don't, again, know if he's going to have that many touches. You look at his numbers. I mean, they were the highest they have been for him on those kinds of categories in 4 or 5 years. I don't know if he's going to do that every night, but the idea that he could be a little bit more ball dominant is something that I know I heard the Warriors talking about post-game last night, and we'll have to see if that continues going.